welcome to Field Notes. I feel like it's been a really long time, which is because it has been. What are we going to talk about today? Before I left, I promised you guys a recap on some of the gear that I think helped me the most at field camp. So I'm going to divide this into 3 parts. First part is going to be what worked, the second part is going to be what didn't work, and the third part are just going to be some general tips. One of the things that I didn't even mention in my field camp gear video was clothing. Now I had prepared and had gone out and bought camping clothes, you know, camping shirts, the quick dry, and the pants. I did not realize that I would want long pants and long sleeves every day. When I bought camping clothes, I went under the assumption that I would be really hot. So most of the clothing that I bought were shorts and capris, and I bought 1 pair of pants. Well, that pair of pants ended up being the one item of clothing that I wore every single day. I'm not even kidding you. It was these pair of North Face camp pants, and they held up so incredibly well. I was sliding down rocks. I don't have a single tear in them. They got really dirty by the end of the week, don't get me wrong. These pants held up remarkably well, except for the hem. I ripped the crap out of this hem, but that's mostly just because I'm really short and I was walking on them all the time. If I were to recommend something to you, it would be to buy a couple pairs of pants. Not just capris, not shorts, long pants. In the same aspect of wanting a pair of long pants, you're probably gonna want long sleeves. Long sleeves, camping shirt, yeah. You want something long in the shirt sleeves and in the pants because of the terrain that you're going to be going through. Now, most of the time we weren't in the woods or in brush, but it is a lot nicer to know that your arms are protected not only from the brush, but from bugs and from the sun. But the long sleeve shirt was so important, I actually went out in this little town and bought another one. And yes, it is plaid. I don't know what it is with these shirts, they're always plaid. Long pants and long t-shirts are the most important gear out of all of it. Just my opinion. The second most important piece of gear was actually that side pouch. Now I had a suspicion that that would probably come in handy, but I did not understand to the extent. Many people were trying to shove their field books into their pockets because it's impossible to walk around with your pack, your hammer, your buttons, take a strike and dip, get your bag out, write it down. It's impossible. You can't do it. So having it on your hip was the best thing. The pouch I got also had specialized little pocket things, and I thought the bigger one was for a Sharpie. It is actually for your HCl bottle. I cannot tell you how many times as a group we were standing there needing to test something and everybody else was digging in their packs trying to get their bottle out, and mine was right there and done. The third piece of gear that I would like to talk about was the Camelback. The Camelback is really nice because I got the little tubey guy, unclips from your strap, and you can just drink it right there. You don't have to stop and pull out a bottle. Now there have been complaints that Camelbacks leak in your bag. I didn't have mine leak at all. I wouldn't recommend putting things in the same pocket as the Camelback. Don't try and like shove your hammer in there. You're gonna poke a hole and it might leak all over your bag. I never had a problem with Camelback, however my instructor did not recommend them, and he has a lot more experience in the field, but most kids on the trip had Camelbacks. So now let's talk about things that didn't work. And kind of following in the same vein of water, I also brought 2 of these water bottles with a little squeezy top, and it has like a carabiner hook. I would not recommend bringing these water bottles. I don't know what it is about the design of the straw and the little nose dude, but somehow they get super pressurized if they change 2 degrees in temperature and they squirt water at you. My water bottle just leaks everywhere. Even if it's standing upright, walking around with you, you're drinking from it, it is always going to start leaking somehow. If you are someone a little bit more coordinated than me and can drink out of just like the giant openings and the top, that has always been dangerous for me because I'll wear more than I drink. So I always have liked the little sippy cup tops. But this style in particular is a pain in the butt. That was one of the most annoying things on the trip, is that my water bottles would squirt water. Another thing that didn't necessarily not work, but was not necessary, were these specific notebooks. I had 2 of the hardbound geologic field notebooks. Now if you know anything about those notebooks, you know that they are like 20 bucks a piece. You do not need more than 1 of those notebooks. Many people had 1 of them, and then a lot of people didn't even have Write in the Rain at all. There are plenty of other brands that will give you a waterproof, tear-proof, all-weather kind of book that don't cost that much. and that work with actual pens, not the Write in the Rain pens. Another problem that I had with these notebooks was the pen. If you were to drop it outside, sand gets in the mechanism and it just gets jammed. Now, I'm not really sure why an all-weather notebook writing pen is so easily susceptible to dirt and sand, but I wouldn't recommend using a notebook that only has those pens to write in because the pen was such a pain in the butt too. I dropped the second pen and it got jammed, so I'd have to shove it against my knee every time I needed to close it. Another thing that didn't really work for me out in the field was food. Our teacher told us the first day to pack 2 sandwiches because you're gonna be hiking a lot, you're gonna be pretty hungry by the time lunchtime comes around. So the first day I was a dutiful little student and I packed my 2 sandwiches, and by the time lunchtime rolled around, I was not in the mood to eat either of them. I was maybe sometimes able to eat an apple or whatever fruit it was that I had that day. Now the bad thing about this is obviously you're out hiking and you're out burning a ton of calories, you need something to keep yourself going. What I would recommend is that you buy yourself some sort of dietary meal supplement. I wish I had thought of doing that when I was out there. I thought of bringing Gatorade, which was helpful. I packed one of these water bottles full of Gatorade, and I tried to drink that throughout the day, but if you don't have something in your system, you're gonna start slowing down. Now I'm just gonna give you a couple tips to help prepare you a little bit better for your field camp experience. Number 1. Bring a watch. Seriously, I bought this halfway through field camp because I didn't think it was going to be important. The teacher is going to tell you to be back at the vans at 4:30, and what if your phone dies because you forgot to put it in airplane mode and therefore it drained the battery while it was trying to search for service because you don't really have service in these areas, and all of a sudden you're late because you can't tell what time it is. Another tip would be to research some apps before you go to field camp. Don't be sitting there at field camp with spotty coverage trying to download something that you're not entirely sure is going to be what you want. Third and final tip for you that I have is to make sure your boots are tall enough. A mid-height boot is not tall enough. Now this might be a problem if you are a girl and you are searching for hiking boots, because I am having a heck of a time finding full-height hiking shoes. These have just been a few tips and what gear I actually thought was helpful. I know it has been a really long time since I've made a video. I'm gonna really try and get back into the swing of things. I've got a lot of ideas for upcoming videos, but of course, if you have an idea that you would like me to explain, then leave it down below. I can try and get back to all of you. Remember to like this video if you liked it, click subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you shortly, I promise, with another video. This is my sweet new computer. Say hello. He doesn't have a name yet. Look, see, this is the place we stayed at. If I can suggest one thing for field camp, it is to make sure you go on a field camp that stays at YBRA.